Hi guys, welcome back. Honda's first 160cc BS-6 bike to hit the market was the Unicorn, which has been the classic style king. But then the sporty department was left out until now. And now that we finally get the X-Plate BS-6, that emptiness is sorted. So right now from Honda, these are the two offerings in the 160cc segment, and some of you will be confused which one should you pick. Well, this video is for that. It's the comparison of the Honda Unicorn BS-6 and the Honda X-Blade BS-6. Well, one thing which is a very easy one from the two is actually the design. These are two differently styled bikes, and from that aspect, things are pretty straightforward. If you're a fan of classic style design, well then the Unicorn should be your choice, and that's noticeable from every angle with the Unicorn. It's the old famous very loud design which has this massive metal tank, simple and glossy halogen headlight set with chrome touches, and also the tail light is the Unicorn's classic tail light. But the X-Blade on the other hand is a modern approach from Honda. It looks very futuristic and there is sheer aggression throughout. The headlight is a robo-faced LED one and the tank has sharp cuttings with matching graphics, and the tail light is the right completion to the design. So the design of these two bikes is a very different approach targeting different category of riders. But here in this design side, some things will have an upper hand to provide a better convenience, and that's firstly noticeable with the headlight's range and coverage. Now the Unicorn's headlight is a DC halogen headlight, and it's a good one with sufficient range and coverage, and hence through pitch dark you won't face any issues. But compared to the strong LED headlight in the X-Blade, the Unicorn's headlight will only take the second place. X-Blade's LED headlight is surely the best in class, and hence the road visibility during night rides is great. And actually that advantage thing is even noticeable with the Speedo console. The Unicorn retains the old 3-circle analog console which is matching well with the Unicorn's design theme, but based on functionality it just shows the basic stuff. But on checking the X-Blade's instrument console, it's a fully digital one. It has a neat backlight and overall it looks clean, and at the same time it does show much needed information, and hence I do prefer the Speedo console in the X-Blade. But with the switch controls, even though the X-Blade has an extra control which is the hazard switch, well other than that, both the bikes have the same and good selection of controls like the dim bright switch, fast light control, indicator toggle and horn on the left side, and on the right side there is the engine kill switch as well as the self start switch. So these controls are all needed ones, and it's great Honda didn't skip with the controls in both the bikes, and also it's better Honda did even offer a hazard switch in the X-Blade. And by the way, for the classic style Unicorn, the handlebar is the U-shaped one, but with the sporty looking X-Blade, the handlebar used is the straight type one. And also the exhaust in the X-Blade has a much more attitude with the dual outlet and chrome garnish, while the Unicorn's is a simple and familiar one. And lastly, the X-Blade also gets an undercowl, which is a great add-on both in terms of looks as well as functionality, which is missing in the Unicorn. So from a design point of view, as I said, it's purely going to be based on your preference. And here for me, I do like sporty and aggressive design, so my choice based on design is obviously the X-Blade. Now like the design thing, a very easy factor is the specifications. It's the numbers in paper, and hence you can tally both and pick the right one for you. And for that, let's first pull up the engine specification of both these bikes, and here as you can see, both the bikes have a 162.7cc 4-stroke single-cylinder BS-6 PGM-FI engine. So that's all similar, but here the max power and torque generated is much higher from the engine used in the X-Blade. So that's an added advantage for the X-Blade in the engine spec side, and actually that advantage is again seen with the tire measurements. The X-Blade gets a much chunkier rear tire than the tire used in the Unicorn, and actually both the bikes use tubeless tires. Then about the brakes, well here the X-Blade has two variants which are dual disc and single disc, and here if you go for the dual disc variant, the front will be 276mm disc and the rear will be 220mm disc, while with the single disc variant, the front is the same 276mm disc, but the rear will be 130mm drum. And here both the variants are ABS equipped, which is by the way single channel ABS, and it is set in the front wheel. Well, with the Unicorn, there is only a single variant which has a 240mm disc in the front and a 130mm drum in the rear, and here also the Unicorn gets a single channel ABS system which is again equipped in the front wheel. Then checking the body dimensions, we can see that the Unicorn is the longer bike of the two, but the rest of the things are larger in the X-Blade. But with the ground clearance, that's where the Unicorn has the biggest advantage with a massive 187mm clearance, while the X-Blade just has 160mm clearance. But here during my testing, I did ride through rough conditions with both the bikes, and the good part is that I didn't experience any issues from both the bikes. Now this higher number advantage is again noticeable in one more area, and that's the fuel tank capacity, where the Unicorn has a 13-liter tank while the X-Blade has a 12-liter tank. And finally about the seat height, well both bikes have almost the same seat height, and for me the seat height was perfect in both the bikes. I didn't face any issues from the handlebar, nor did I have any trouble reaching the ground. So after checking this factor, most of the spec is dominated by the X-Blade, which shouldn't be a surprise because the X-Blade is a pricier bike of the two. Here's the Ex Showroom price chart of both these bikes, and as you can see, even the base variant of the X-Blade is approximately 12,000 rupees more than the pricing of the Unicorn. And by the way, if you're in Kollam, Kerala and you want to know the on-road pricing or do a test ride, or even if you want to make a booking for any Honda scooters or bikes, you can contact Vahini Honda Kollam. So after checking the specifications and the pricing, things might look somewhat vague, and hence to get the clear picture of how these specifications transform in real life scenario, we have the road test which will give us the correct picture of the ride quality and comfort of both these bikes. And here firstly with the X-Blade, well, it does show its power and performance advantage on road. This new X-Blade has great performance for a bike in this segment. There are 5 gears available and the gear ratio is laid out well with slightly punchier power in the initial gear, and yet this new engine in the X-Blade can hit the 100 mark without much stress. The X-Blade did offer great ride quality for a speed range from 0 to 100, and in that speed range, there was literally no vibration or engine stress or even any disturbance. I did thoroughly enjoy the ride quality from the X-Blade. Now since the X-Blade has this good performance, you can hit the 100 plus mark without much issues, but after the 100 range, the speed gain was in a slow manner which is actually noticeable in the 80 to 90 range too. But with the Unicorn, things are a bit more different. This new Unicorn engine is powerful than the old engine, but is still very refined and smooth like the old engine. And yet this BS-6 Unicorn also has a 5-speed gearbox, but the performance chart is a much more linear one than what we get from the X-Blade. And the Unicorn can hit the 100 mark, but it does take more time, and the best ride experience was in a speed range from 0 to 90 km/h. So overall in the ride quality department, both the bikes have a very refined and smooth engine with the performance advantage going to the X-Blade. And now moving to the comfort side, well here as you might know, the Unicorn has always been a single size fit for everyone, and it's the same with this new version of the Unicorn. You get the perfect upright riding posture with no stress to the lower back, and combined with that, the suspension combo used is the classic best monoshock suspension on the rear and telescopic suspension on the front. And here during my testing, like the old version of the Unicorn, I totally loved the ride comfort from the BS-6 version. The seat used is long and wide, and that does provide good seating comfort for both the rider and the pillion. So overall with the Unicorn, the comfort side is a A+. And actually the X-Blade also does stay on par with the Unicorn based on the ride comfort. But then the interesting part is that the riding posture and the seat used is all very different. The X-Blade's riding posture is not an upright one, but then it's not an aggressive one too. It's like a sweet spot in between, and therefore even from the X-Blade there wasn't any stress or strain from the posture, and same is the case with the seat used. It's long and wide and comfortable for both the rider and the pillion, and to be frank, I did like the X-Blade seat a bit more than what's used in the Unicorn. And about the suspension used, well it's telescopic in the front and monoshock in the rear, but the setting was a bit different than what it was with the Unicorn, and here with the X-Blade, even through worst conditions, the ride was very comfortable. Now on the ride comfort side, what I felt is that both bikes does offer great ride comfort, but if you consider a wider majority, then maybe you can say that the Unicorn has a slight upper hand. But then that all changes while we check the safety. And here I'm going to say it straight, which is from the two, the bike which offers the better safety is the X-Blade. Now here with the X-Blade, the version I tested is the dual-disc variant, and in that the braking performance is really good. It's like with panic braking, there is a 10 to 15 km speed advantage with the X-Blade, and with the X-Blade, even while trying to apply a quick brake in the 80 plus mark, the bike did stop without any rear wheel liftoff or any skids. And talking about skids, well even while taking tight corners, the X-Blade does grip much better than the Unicorn. So from the ride quality, ride comfort and safety side, well the X-Blade does show its bigger price and better spec advantage, and to put it simple, what I have to say is that the Unicorn is a toned down version of the X-Blade both in terms of performance and safety. But with the ride quality and comfort, both the bikes offer almost the same ride quality and comfort with slight upper hand going to the Unicorn in certain scenarios, but in some others, the upper hand lies with the X-Blade. So now there is only one more stuff to check, and that's the mileage. And yet this might be a surprising thing because the bike that offered the better mileage is the X-Blade. During our testing, the X-Blade gave a mileage of 58 km/L, while the Unicorn got a mileage of 51 km/L. There was a good gap in mileage during our testing, but please note, this is the mileage we got, and for you it might be different because mileage totally depends on riding conditions and riding pattern. Well, I guess that's everything for this comparison. And here for you, the decision of picking the right one should be an easy thing. If your priority is basically classic design, lower price and excellent ride comfort with good ride quality and sufficient power and also good mileage, well then your pick should be the Unicorn. But if your preference, like me, is towards a very aggressive styling, great performance in this segment with impressive ride quality, ride comfort and also better mileage, well then your pick should be the X-Blade. That's all for this video guys. If you enjoyed it, a like is much appreciated and a sub would be great. Now for me, my pick from the two is the X-Blade, and I would love to know which one is your pick. So please leave that in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.